Hi everyone. My name is Arun. Today, just I will be sharing one of the coolest projects I did. So before I go into it, let me show you what is it about. So so if you go to your the shell on your computer and like let's suppose say you give the command ls. So you know what happens? It just displays the files and the folders in your directory. And if you give ls minus l, it does a long listing with the permissions, the size of the files or the folders like that. And if you give head it hyphen 10 api.py, it displays the first 10 lines of that particular file name api.python. So basically, this is what I have implemented, but using uh, without using the system library, OS library. So now I will show you the like how I implemented, what kind of architecture I had to go through. So let me see what I did. So, so, so what I basically did is like so on your computer there is already a shell, right? Like I am using Mac, so I have Unix shell. So what I did is like the first what I did is like um, this is the first part. So the first part is gonna be like you need to get standard input from you know keyboard. That is what we do, right? Like you give standard input from the keyboard, and so for that, the first part of this is giving standard input from the keyboard, and from that you need to extract commands, flags, standard input, output, and piping, all these things. Like let's suppose say for example, if I gave the command ls minus lah, then ls is the name of command and hyphen l comma a comma h, these three are the flags. So for each flags, so you need to be able to identify all of this. and for example, you have like I don't know ls minus lah, and you have this like you have the standard output, and you wanted to store that in a file like let's suppose say I don't know file.txt. So here what you're doing is like whatever is the output of ls minus lah, you're trying to store that in a file named file.txt. So you should be able to identify this also. And for example, there's one more thing, like for example, head minus 10, uh, minus 10, the minus 100, like file.txt, like you want to print the first 1,000 lines of the file name file.txt and pipe. So this, whatever the output is, it will serve as the input for the next one. Then you want to do grep, like do something like grep. I don't know. Uh, you are searching for some kind of a text. Grep Arun in the file. Again, the file name. Sorry. So, mm, so this, whatever the output is coming from here, it will serve as an input here, and it will search for the text Arun. Sorry, this may not be the perfect command, but I'm just trying to explain to you, like you should be able to identify everything using your code. And so this part, what you achieved is like whatever the standard input you're giving from your keyboard, you're catching all the characters that you're entering, and from those characters you're trying to how can I say, extract meaningful commands and the flags and the redirections and the piping. You're trying to extract all these things. Basically what you're trying to do is like identifying a regex pattern. That's what you're trying to do, which you want to use later. So once I have identified commands, the flags, and all these things, what I'm trying to do is like I will send an API call from the front end. And so this is the architecture. This is the shell. And then you have an API. Here in this project, I used Fast API. And then you have a database like, let's say, mm, SQLite 3. It's a lightweight database. Like it can handle. You can mostly use it for local things to do everything locally, not for productions and stuff. So you have, I don't know, DB. DB has tables. Tables have relationships. You know, different tables have, foreign key, or I don't know, identifier, primary key, all these things. So let's let's suppose say you gave, like you typed ls minus lah. Your your computer calls the API, which is responsible for handling ls, and flags are gonna be l, comma a, comma h. And once once that has been gone there, like, so here in the DB, I'm mimicking. So in your computer, you have a file structure, you have folders, and you have files, and you have hidden files. So instead of doing that, what we basically did in this project is like using SQLite 3, we created different tables, like different types of tables. Like you need directories, So this is a table and you have files. This is a table and you have, that's it. These are the only things which I used for now, which I will show you in the code. So, so you're trying to, what I'm trying to do is just mimic the shell structure. Like, so let's suppose say, so one, one is the ID of root and you're displaying your root using this symbol. That's for simplicity. Like when you in cell structure, you always use slashes for path and stuff. So it's a good idea. So let's suppose say one of your directory like my documents and assignments, and my documents has, you know, this folder has like f1.txt, f2.txt, assignments has f3.txt, f4.txt. So my documents ID is gonna be one. Sorry, two. We already using one for the root. One, two for my documents, and three for assignments. So f1.txt. All this is the data. Like you're creating different types of things, but all this is the data. I'm going to show you the structure the code I did for it, and then the structure I did for it in a second. So F1 has the parent key as 2. F1 has parent key as 2, F2 has parent key as 3, and this will have 3 and this also will have 3. So whenever you give the command pwd to identify the current directory, you can start with the current file name, and then you can use the parent ID to iteratively go until you reach the root, and you just concatenate them and generate, like root my document F1, like PWD is present working directory, right? So this is the kind of logic, like you created directories and files, you create you create new files, new directories, not in the database, using your shell only, and you will be able to manipulate the database using your shell commands. So that is the basic idea of this project. So let me go ahead and show you mm, the database that I created. I will show you the code and then I will show you the database itself. So that's it. So I have two tables here. This is the schema that I created. It's local. All this code is for local on the local system. So you just initialize database, you import, you install SQLite 3 in your virtual environment. I'm using my virtual environment, which is named my environment or something. So this is the first table I created, files. The file has a name and it has a parent ID and owner ID. So owners is like the permissions. I haven't implemented it yet. Like you use change chmod is a command. Change, I don't know what's the full name of it, but like each files and each folders have different ownership, right? So that's what this ID is for. I haven't implemented it yet. So name of the file, the size, you want to know how much the size of each, when it is created, when it is modified. So if it is a text file, it has some contents. So you can, I am using blob as my data structure to store all the data in those particular files. So that's what I said. Read permission, write permission, all these are the permissions for that particular file. Uh, and like, so this is the directories, and these are the users. Like I said, each on a system you can have multiple users, and each user has access to different files which are there in that particular database. So in your system you have your own memory which is being divided. Each user can use some of it. All of your data is on the same hard drive. I haven't finished it yet, but let me explain what I did, which is very cool. So that's it. And I also put triggers, like whenever changing the contents of a file, I insert a trigger so that the modified time of that particular file and the size of that particular file will be updated automatically in the database without me worrying about anything, you know. So this is the database, and when you execute database.py, it creates file system.sqlite. You know, you can use any editor. So like I said, this is this is the files I have, different type. Let me go to the four directories. So these are the directories I have created using the shell, and though that you know for the root directory there is no parent, so I put it as null. So that will be easy for me to calculate the paths and the relative paths relative to the directory very easily, you know. And so that's it. You have directories. Let's suppose say my docs ID, sorry, assignments ID is 2. And if you go to files, PID, wherever PID is 2, that means all these files in this particular table should be inside the directory assignments. So that's the main intention of creating this database. So so now let me go through the next stage. Once I just created the database. I haven't, and I connected it to the front end. I All of these files which you are seeing here, they have been created from the shell, not by running, like you can run queries, right? SQL queries. You can select start from directories. Instead of doing this, all you can do is like create, you know, create a table, all these things. I didn't do any of it. I will show you the queries I use for each of these things. So the next thing is you need the APIs. So this is the API that I have created. So here you have path for all of the commands that I have implemented. So pwd is one of the command, ls. So all these are the commands, like you have for each command, I have a route for the API call. So if I just go here, um, and just run the API. Sorry, it should be somewhere here. So my API is running. if I go to this particular path in my local machine, I should be able to, so these are all the paths. So my database is already active. Like let's suppose say this is the PWD, that's what I'm talking about, right? So when you execute it, it says that you are in root. But if you go to, let's suppose say, if you want to use CD, you know, and execute it, so just give assignments, execute it. And now if you run the PWD again, you can see the current directory changed from root to assignment, you know, and you're already, and if right now I'm in directory assignments, and if I run the command ls without any flags, let's put L. L is a flag, right? If I give the command L, so it's giving me the list of all the directories and all these things here. This is the response I'm getting. So I don't know how to do it pretty, but you're getting the outputs, you know. And let's suppose say you wanna, you know, create a new directory. Let's suppose say cool project. Once again, let me show you in the database, in the directories, there is no directory named cool project. And if I run it from, in this, if I just run it, I created a new directory called cool project. As you can see, it's here, and the parent ID is 2, and the parent ID is 2 means it's under it's under sorry, it's under parent ID is 2, so it's under assignments, which is the path that we have traveled to. It is cool, right? So that's what I'm trying to say. So let me, I'm sure that you guys understand what I'm trying to say, right? So yeah, let me just run the project and show the commands that I have implemented and all these things. So let me go here, Python 3.py. So as you can see, I have created my own command prompt, and if I give ls, I'm in the root directory. Sorry, I'm in assignments. So assignments has all my dog school project. All this has, uh, you know, all this has. These are the files, and you can right now you can see the files and the folders. They're not color, like you can't identify which is a file and which is a directory. But I'm trying to get better. You can also maneuver between different things, like right now in you're in PWD, and if you go to you know CD documents, sorry, CD O CUMENTS. Huh. Oh, nice. Change to directory assignments. I don't. the documents it's listing here. I don't know why it's not. Hmm. No, let's see directories. Where is? Mhm. It's not here. So documents is not there in the database. Hmm. Let's see. Data. It's in the root. LF. Documents. Files. Ah, see, documents is a file name. It's not a folder, so you have to be careful what you're trying to do. So, lot of things, man. So this is the API.py, like I said. So whenever you give it, whenever like, so the first thing you run is the shell project.py, and once you run it, it clears. You go into your own shell. It is creating a new shell for you with your own, command and all these things, command prompt or all these things. You can enter whatever the characters you want. Um, you know, head hyphen file c.txt. So it prints hello. Let's go to the direct files. Let's see what are the contents of c.txt. It's in it's in the root. So parent ID is 1. It should be c.txt. C dot parent ID is 1, c.txt, and the contents of it is hello world. That's what it's printing. And let's suppose say if I put more and more, here it print hello. Um, and then um, txt hello. No, no, we're inserting data into the database. Just commit, and if you run again, again, again. It's not perfect, but I'm trying to do the best I can. From file c.txt. Hello, Arun. So, pwd root ls c.txt. Hmm. And let's create a new file. I don't know. Touch project.txt. Now we have project.txt. There's no content here. So we will enter our old contents. Hello, how are you? I'm good. And that's let me go down. It's been a while since I ran this project, so maybe just commit. And now ls head -10 project dot txt. See, hello, how are you? I'm good. That's it. It prints. So just that's that's basically, you know, what I try to implement. So yeah, that's it. Thank you and look at this project. Thank you.